so far. The home stretch in the NBA season with Reggie Miller, Kevin Harlan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. What's at the top of your mind, top of your list tonight when you take a look at this game?
Well, can the size of Chicago with Noah and Boozer really contain the speed on the perimeter with Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh? Very interesting to see.
Got two great teams, two teams that play a lot of defense, as we talked about before. As we now take a look at the starting lineups. Great matchups back and forth, but one has caught your eye.
Really the small forward matchup. If you're Luol Deng, you've got to put pressure on LeBron James. Not only defensively, that's a tall task, but offensively. You got to make him work at the defensive end, coming off screens and keeping him honest defensively.
Noah had returned after missing 30 games. As you take a look at LeBron James, who comes into tonight, but Joakim Noah has not played that many games with Boozer and with Rose. In fact, only 10 all season long. You take a look at Derrick Rose, who's been just spectacular. So they're like the big three in Miami, how they had to kind of get used to playing with one another. This is kind of the situation Chicago finds themselves in. They had to incorporate Boozer, who had missed 15 early season games, and now Noah, who's missed 30 and played last night in Toronto.
Well, it was interesting speaking with Coach Tom Thibodeau about last night's loss, and he really couldn't put one finger on it, especially defensively. He's like, look, I don't know if we had the post-All-Star blues, but defensively, we weren't as sharp as
home court advantage, although the record is terrific. And the Bulls have the second best home record in the NBA.
Well, they have the advantage of this fantastic crowd that's here at the United Center each and every night.
Our officials tonight, Steve Javie, Kane Fitzgerald, along with Benny Adams, and away we go. Chicago played last night in Toronto and lost 118-113. Rose in that contest put in 32. Mario Chalmers will get a screen from Noah. That's a switch on defense. Dampier comes out. They find Boozer with a nice rejection inside by Bosh. And here comes LeBron James.
Nice rotation over by Chris Bosh defensively to get that block shot.
Chris Bosh has put together 4 consecutive games of at least 20 points. So he has been playing very well. Great pass. Deng getting Boozer in stride. One. Tukey to another.
And this is what you like to see if you're a head coach. Your bigs running the floor. Noah was out early. That sucked all the defense to Carlos Boozer. Nice pass and finish by the big man.
Wade picked up his first personal foul. So here is Carlos at the free throw line. We talk about teams making moves. That was Chicago's big addition. But like we said before, we've only played 10 games previous to tonight where their big three, Noah, Rose, and Boozer, have all been on the floor at the same time.
And you're wondering what kind of adjustments goes on with bigs. Well, you've got to be on a string defensively, especially when you're the power forward and center, because you're always guarding and rotating towards one another's men.
Here's Bosh, and this is over Noah with the rebound by Boozer. Tuesday night, this Miami team beat the Sacramento Kings 117-97. Rose popping a 3. There's Wade collecting the loose ball.
There's been one part of Derrick Rose's game that's definitely been the advantage for him this year, has been his outside shooting, especially from that 3-point range.
Well, he's really been working on it. In fact, he's got almost the best of anybody on this team shooting as the foul goes on Keith Bogans for the first time. But he, this past offseason, as you say, worked diligently at just that outside shot.
Well, 32 threes combined from his first 2 seasons, already 83 three-pointers made. So that lets you know the commitment he made in the gym, extending his range.
He is a guy that is from Chicago, so that is, you know, coming with all kinds of pressure about being the #1 overall pick and by the hometown team. he really credits a lot of his success to his brothers Dwayne, Allen, and Reggie. These guys have been protective of him when he was a little guy growing up here, and they've really helped his basketball get to where it is.
You know, what I love about him is he's so humble. He doesn't take compliments quite well. You know, there's so much talk. You know, you hear Charles Barkley talking about right now he's the league's MVP. You know, it's tough for him to accept that. And I had a chance to speak with him over the All-Star weekend, and I walked up to him and says, I love your humbleness, but you belong here. You deserve to be here, Derek. And he was like, yeah, Reg, I know, I understand. I'm like, well, accept that. Understand you're one of the 10 best players in this league right now.
Bosh just picked up his first. So Rose has just had this terrific season. I don't think you'll find an expert that would find much complaint with giving him a mid-season or a 2/3 of the way through season MVP. With a look at what he did the first 2 years and what he has done this year has been terrific. Now at the free throw line, we've got Joakim Noah. His timing, Reg, cannot be razor sharp right now after missing the 30 games.
No, it won't be, and I'm sure there's a lot of offensive sets as well as defensive sets that Thibodeau has put in that he's probably not 100% sure on. But when it comes to effort, hustle, and toughness, what better guy to have as one of your anchors to your defense than Joakim Noah?
And surgery to repair the torn ligament in his right thumb, and we just got a good shot of a tape job on that. He says it's still a little bit stiff, not a great deal of flexibility. Bosh over Noah. Dampier, and that's what he does so well. Tips away those loose balls. Wade will slash inside. Bogans with the defense. First Miami turnover. Here comes Rose. And Dang, who's really been playing well. Bosh with the rebound.
If you're the Miami Heat, you cannot rely on a lot of outside shots.
Mario Chalmers out of Kansas coming up with a shot. Miami has started 0-5. Numbers the other way. Here is Dang, knocked away by a very good defensive LeBron James swipe.
Well, Dang just a second late of giving that alley-oop to a streaky Noah down the middle. I'm not quite sure there's another center in the league that runs from post to post down the middle of the floor. Maybe Dwight Howard faster than Joakim Noah.
The great thing about Noah, he doesn't have to score to be effective.
No, he doesn't. And, you know, look last night, 25 minutes as Boozer gets his second bucket to go tonight. 25 minutes last night against the Raptors. His first game back after 31, and he had 60 rebounds. But look, old man, simple pick and roll basketball here. And Boozer does a good job. He opens up that inside shoulder, gets into the chest of Dampier, and just uses that quick right-handed hook to get fouled and go to the line.
Dampier picks up his first personal foul. So we've talked about Rose, we've touched on Noah, and here is Boozer, who came as a high-priced player from the Utah Jazz in the offseason.
Comes in the offseason, misses the first 15 games because of injury, and you're wondering, okay, here we go again, because he had some injury problems while he was in Utah. But now Thibodeau has his full complement of players. And for Derrick Rose to keep this ship afloat, and for them to have the third best record in the East, says a lot of what kind of management has been going on here. I think Thibodeau is definitely one of the leading candidates for Coach of the Year. He's done a fabulous job of monitoring not only his superstars, but his bench as well.
Personal foul goes on Noah for the first time. So we've talked about the big players for Chicago. Let's swing our attention now to Miami, and here is Chris Bosh. And I mentioned earlier, he has strung together now 4 consecutive games with at least 20 points.
Well, you know, at the start of the season, we talked about how was the big three really going to gel. And I think if one player suffered at the beginning of the season, it was Chris Bosh, because he had to figure out a way, how was he going to get touches with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. But I think throughout the course of the season, he's figured that out. He's more of a pick and pop player. He doesn't play with his back to the basket. And I think they've grown accustomed to understand where he likes his spots on the floor.
So Chicago has started hitting 2 of their first 5 shots, and here is Boozer. Dampier pushing him out. Rose saves it. Shot clock at 2. Dang for 3. And Wade, Chalmers, and the king at the other end, LeBron James.
And you're wondering, why was LeBron James at the half-court circle? Well, he was contesting that shot by Dang and just streaked out afterwards.
There's a collision down there with Chalmers and Luol Deng. Looks like Chalmers is going to pick up his first for Miami.
Well, Chalmers does a good job as soon as he gets the basketball to look up and find LeBron James. And He touched that off his shin. Didn't you do that earlier?
That would have worked at the dunk contest this past weekend.
He could have came better than that. They were creative at the dunk contest.
It was good.
It was fabulous.
There's Chalmers with the defense. Bosch and James. Oh, and again throws down a sledgehammer. He's getting off on the break. He's helping cameramen off their backside. He's doing it all, and Miami has come back to tie.
This is something that Coach Tom Thibodeau didn't want to see. These early leak-out breaks by LeBron James or Dwayne Wade.
Little crossover here by Rose with the left hand. Boozer, who's already put in 6. James, boy, that motor has shifted into gear with another break, taking it right to the rim.
What did we talk about at the top? The size of the Chicago Bulls versus the speed of the Miami Heat. 6 quick points by LeBron James alone, showing the athleticism.
6 points in about 48 seconds for LeBron, approaching 7.5 to play. Boozer comes off the baseline. And Carlos Boozer with a quick 8. He has started 3 of 5.
It's a nice dump down there by Derrick Rose, but even better job of Boozer getting himself open.
They're going to stick with Chalmers at the point. They got Carlos Arroyo, but Chalmers is the guy now.
Well, defensively, I think he's a step ahead of Carlos Arroyo, and I think that's why Erik Spoelstra has gone with him really since the since the new year. His size, his speed, and one thing they don't like about him, he gambles a little bit too much at the defensive end.
A little foul prone, you're right.
And he's foul prone.
But when he plays with some consistency, he's terrific for this ball club. And what a great position to be in to feed these 3 great scores. Boozer, dang, nice ball rotation going out to Bogans. Popped up the 3, leaking early as Wade. So something's going to happen right there. They're going to call a timeout because the Miami Heat, they're getting out early and they are razor sharp on offense.
Well, not only are they getting out early, already a 10-3 advantage in fast break points for the Miami Heat. And you like all the speed and athleticism by the Miami Heat. The nice finish here by LeBron James. Fast break with the finish. Already up 10-3 in fast break points. LeBron James, 6-0 run by himself.
Leading by 4. Reggie's key matchup tonight was at the small forward position between LeBron James and Luol Deng. It renews a rivalry that goes back 8 years when they were the #1 and #2 players in high school basketball. LeBron averaging 32 points and 10 rebounds for St. Vincent St. Mary's in Akron, Ohio, while Luol Deng was averaging 23 points and 10 rebounds for Blair Academy in Blairstown, New Jersey. They were teammates once for the East on the McDonald's High School All-American team, but then, of course, LeBron went on to become the #1 pick in the NBA draft for Cleveland, while Luol Deng was the #1 recruit for Duke. And by the way, Reggie, it is a matchup that Luol Deng has to concentrate on for the entire game guarding LeBron, but LeBron said to me, listen, I'll start on Luol, but if Derrick Rose heats up, I'm going to switch over and take Derrick Rose.
I like that Deng just picked up his first personal foul. Here is Dampier. He had a block shot at one end and a driving sledgehammer at the other. Here he is at the free throw line for Miami.
Well, Miami on the season only averages 15 fast break points. Already tonight, 13 in this early part of this first period. Something that has to be a concern for Thibodeau.
Little 7-0 run right now by the Miami Heat. 6 from LeBron, 4 from Wade. Rose 0 for 2. Deng, Boozer, Noah. Little hockey assist coming from top.
You love when your bigs can facilitate passes in traffic to one another. And right there, Boozer did a great job of nice hands by Noah in the finish.
Neither team made a change coming out of that break in terms of personnel. Here is Bogans watching Wade. The quick double by Boozer means Bosch is left open on the perimeter. Late close by Noah. Rose the rebound. Boozer, they're going to let him fire. Bosch.
Boozer, you got to be able to knock down that free throw line jump shot if they're going to give it to you.
Wade through traffic. James over Noah. Dampier, well, that is found money. When he begins to score, everything is working for the Heat.
And what did head coach Erik Spoelstra tell us? That it was almost like a revolving door between Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Joel Anthony as well as Dampier. They're all probably going to play equal minutes, but he likes the activity what Dampier brings to his team as Rose gets his shot to go down. But I love the activity early on here by the center, Eric Dampier.
Miami coming in, having won 11 of 12 games, 3 consecutive games, 2 straight on the road. 42-15 their record. Shot clock here at 8. The drive by Chalmers. Everybody getting in the act. All starters have scored for the Heat.
Coming off a very disappointing loss last night where they gave up 118 points to the Toronto Raptors. You cannot be happy at the defensive effort here early on by the Chicago Bulls.
How about Dampier and Chalmers accounting for 9 of the 20 points for the Miami Heat. Nice ball rotation. Bogans for 3. Late close by Dampier. Noah aggressively going for the ball. And that's what he brings the team.
Second shot opportunities. He keeps the basketball alive. He keeps it high. And he's able to finish.
Noah 5 points and 2 boards already. James 3 of 5. All on breaks. Wade from Chicago. Shot clock down to 3. Bogans defending.
I mean, if you're Bogans, you could not have played as him and Dwayne Wade are having a smile. You couldn't have played Dwayne Wade any better than that.
That's Bogans' calling card, his defense.
You force him into a tough shot like that, and he hits the buzzer going down.
Here comes LeBron. Wade by Rose and scoops it home, and Miami is up now by their biggest margin tonight of 9.
Well, I thought LeBron got away with a travel, but he was wobbling the basketball, but already a plus 12 advantage for the Miami Heat in fast break points, 15-3.
Neither team has made a substitution, approaching 3 to play. Good screen by Noah. That's a turnover right there by Chicago, number 2. Wade. Oh! And just like the other night, when he went diving in, Rowan just kind of flipped it up as he was looking one way, hitting the deck, and tossed it over his shoulder. And there he comes down. Looks like maybe a little hard on that right arm. Boozer picks up his first personal foul. And D. Wade from Chicago, who looked at the Bulls this past offseason, is at the line for Miami.
And you're just saying to yourself, if you're Keith Bogans, I got to force him into a tough shot. And he's like, are you kidding me? Not fair.
Jones has come in. Bosch has left. And Ronnie Brewer has now come in for Chicago. Here's a look at the upcoming national TV schedule. Game on there that's interesting to me, the Thunder and the Orlando Magic. When you've got these East versus West games, kind of a nice way to size up where you are in the landscape of the NBA.
Well, how about the Thunder getting a little bit more physical now, picking up Kendrick Perkins, Nazr Mohammed, getting bigger. That was one of the knocks by the Oklahoma City Thunder, was especially going against the Los Angeles Lakers with, Andrew Bynum, Lamar Odom, Bynum. They got beat down on the boards. Now you bring in Kendrick Perkins, a world champion center. You get a little bit tougher and physical down low.
Boozer and Bogans will check out. Taj Gibson is in addition to Brewer. Here's the little drive and floater by Rose, who taps it off to Gibson. Noah again cleans up. They don't call any plays for him at all. That's how he scores right there.
7 points, 4 rebounds already here early on in this first period. All activity.
Boy, is Miami hot. They've hit 10 of their last 12 shots. And Chicago trying to pry their way back in with newly instated. Chicago's got coming up as they sprint to the finish line.
Well, 26 games left. More importantly, 15 of those are on the road. Now, they are a decent team on the road, but for a team that's finding themselves, especially with all the injuries coming back, that's going to be very important if these guys click well those last 26 ball games. And that man right there, Joakim Noah, who's had a fabulous first period here, 7 points, 4 rebounds, and has been the activity.
Omar Ashik is in now for the Chicago Bulls, taking the place of Noah. They got to watch his minutes. He played 24 last night. Eddie House is in, popping it through. He has been in a bit of a slump over the last 4 games. He's out there with Chalmers. Dampier remains. James Jones is in. LeBron stays in the game. James has 6. Wade has 9. Rose has started 1 of 4. Yeah, we got some shoving inside. There's a 3-second violation.
You talked about Eddie House. Look at all the effort just to get an 18-footer. He started at the top of the key, comes off a series of screens to knock down the 18-footer. And with Eddie, it runs hot and it runs cold. You talk about the last 10 ball games. The first 4 averaged 13 points on 55% shooting, 48 from three-point. But the last 6, only 6 points, 33% from the field, and only 19% from downtown.
Joel Anthony is checked in at the center position, taking the place of Dan Pierre. Ilgauskas started about 40 games for this team, did not play the other night against Sacramento. Anthony was the backup then. Looks like he's the backup tonight. And here comes Brewer into the aforementioned Anthony. That's an offensive foul. First.
And there was so much talk surrounding the Chicago Bulls. And if you listen to our guy in the studio, Charles Barkley, one of the things that the Bulls were really looking for, Courtney Lee from Houston, another shooter, someone who can extend the floor. You see the offensive foul here as he just extends his left off arm into the chest of Joel Anthony. And if there's any one thing that the Bulls do need is another shooter on the floor at all times when Rose is out there.
House again, rebound by Ashik, the rookie from Turkey. Last night, Toronto was terrific from the floor, over 50%. And tonight, Miami is shooting right now about 58% from the field as Brewer bangs one in, his first. He's got 2, and there's the shooting percentage. So right now they've had 5 consecutive quarters of some pretty Chicago, that is, of some pretty ordinary defense.
Well, if you're Chicago, you've got to be very fortunate. You're only down now by only 9 points as LeBron James gets his 4th bucket to go, 8 points.
Rose with a screen from Gibson and a rebound by Gibson. To the rack, Rose, and a foul on Miami.
Mario Chalmers is daring and testing Derrick Rose to shoot that three-pointer.
Foul goes on Chalmers, who picks up his 2nd personal foul. Chicago comes into tonight having won 7 consecutive home games, 15 of 16, and TNT Tuesday, television's most fearless series, is on TNT. Only 2 new episodes left this season. Don't miss an all-new Southland. Tuesday at 10/9 Central, only on TNT. Rose at the line.
Well, now Chalmers picking up his 2nd foul. Spoelstra goes to the bench and brings up the backup who you talked about, Carlos Arroyo. A little bit more undersized to guard Derrick Rose.
Maybe more stable, more settled, wouldn't you say, on the floor?
Well, his tempo and pace probably fits better with LeBron and Dwayne when he's out there. But Chalmers does more overall, especially defensively, being able to guard bigger point guards like Derrick Rose. If I'm Derrick, I'm trying to post up Carlos Arroyo, who for some reason won't come in. I think Erik Spoelstra is going to trust Chalmers to play out this first period, minute 04 left.
Well, they initially labeled Chalmers with the foul, but it's going to go against James Jones. Jones picks up his first. Here's LeBron. He's played every tick so far in this first quarter. 8 points. No fouls to give either way. Screen by Anthony. That's a foul.
It's got to be an offensive foul. It wasn't set.
Joel Anthony picks up his first.
Yeah, and this is 50-50. That's partly LeBron James from not being stable when handling the basketball. And if you're Anthony running up, you've got to come to a jump stop.
Chicago beat Miami here in mid-January by 3, 99-96. And Chicago goes to Miami coming up here in the next week. Bad pass, another turnover, number 4 for Chicago.
See if Miami goes for a quick 2-for-1.
And you can see what these teams do in first quarter play at home and on the road. Chicago terrific at home when they win the first quarter. Look what Miami does, 16-2 when they win the first quarter away from Miami. James puts in the long 2. Boy, he is off to a good start with 10.
From those numbers, something has to give tonight.
Yep.
On who's winning this first period. So far, it's been all Miami.
Rose cans one. Rose now has 6. Dangers on James. A 3. And the Chicago Bulls shoot 39%, and Miami shoots a blistering 50.
We kind of expected a defensive struggle. They scored 23 points, and they're down by 8. Are you surprised with the offense tonight?
Well, we got some relief ones in transition, which you need against a really good defensive team like that. And they're a handful. When Rose penetrates, everybody's going to the glass. We got to continue to try to get multiple bodies up there and get off the floor and try to rebound.
You lost the last meeting to the Bulls when you had only 8 fast break points. You have twice that many in the first quarter. What did you see that maybe you thought you could go out and run?
Well, if we get some stops, that's our game. We're not doing anything different than we normally try to do. And again, like when you play a good defensive team like this, you have to get some relief baskets.
Thanks a lot. Back to you, Kevin.
Here comes Wade. House remains. This is over. C.J. Watson missing the 2. Asik has the rebound. So it's Gibson, Dang, Brewer, C.J. Watson out of Tennessee with the ball right here. Out there for the Chicago Bulls. Taj Gibson is the 5th. Shot clock at 9. They send 2 at Gibson. Rebound by Wade out there. Joel Anthony. Here comes Wade with the ball. Bosch is out there. James Jones and House. Wade, good screen by Anthony. Scooping it to Bosch is Wade. So in the paint, we see Miami +8. Here's a long 2. Watson can't hit it. And fast break points, Miami +13 over Chicago.
And they only averaged 15 on the season and already 13 tonight. And look at this Bulls team, especially when Derrick Rose and Noah and Boozer are on the bench. Who is going to score the basketball? C.J. Watson comes down off the break and shoots up a 24-footer. If I'm Thibodeau, I'm trying to get the ball to Luol Deng. You know, he's got to be your secondary scorer, especially he's the second leading scorer on this, or third leading scorer on this Bulls team.
Bosch goes right into Taj Gibson, who just picked up his first personal foul. Look at Chris Bosch. We talked about him earlier. He's had a nice group of games he's put in, and I think he has found his comfort zone. And as LeBron was saying early in the season, we were all trying to be, there's a quick foul, C.J. Watson with the push. We were all trying to be so unselfish, we weren't playing our individual games. When we started playing our individual games, everyone was able to react naturally, and that's why we've had this great spurt.
Well, if you look at Chris Bosch, he's not a guy that plays with his back to the basket. He's more of a pick and pop, and you know, he's one of those matchups at that 4 position that can be a nightmare for most teams because of his shooting ability.
Jones with the miss. He just comes off that 3-point shootout contest win at the All-Star Games Saturday night in Los Angeles.
Eddie Asik off the bench with 3 rebounds for the Bulls. His name came up in a lot of trades for a lot of teams looking for big bodies.
Gibson a screen, switch on defense. Brewer. Bosch.
And this is the problem with Chicago when Derrick Rose goes to the bench. They need another guy, a lot like what Ben Gordon used to do for them, spread the floor, shooting the basketball.
Good move by Brewer. Watson ahead. House with the shove and a foul. As the Heat now have missed 6 consecutive shots. Eddie House picks up number 1. Well, all the teams around these 2 teams doing something. Now, Miami, of course, had the gargantuan summer. Chicago signed Boozer, but Boston was active today. Orlando made a early season, in-season trade. But Chicago basically sat still, did not do anything, as did Miami.
Well, New York adds Carmelo and Chauncey Billups. Atlanta swaps their point guards. Mike Bibby goes to Washington. Kurt Heinrich
I like how they're going to Atlanta.
So everyone around Chicago is making moves, and everyone was clamoring for this team to get another wing player. You heard Courtney Lee's name out there. Jason Capono might have been bought out of his contract. But as you see, John Paxson, the general manager here for the Chicago Bulls, they stayed pat as they look, you know, we've got the 3rd best record in the East with, you know, a young player who's an MVP candidate. I think I like our chances.
Shot clock at 9 for Wade. There's an Anthony screen. Wade, look at him dance to hit free. And Asik picks it up. The Bulls did make one minor move. They traded James Johnson to Toronto, but they got a future draft pick. And inside Brewer, at the 9.5-minute mark of the 2nd quarter, puts it in. Chicago moments ago down by as many as 9. Make it 10. Now trailing by 4. Wade, Bosch, House for the triple. Dang with the rebound. Little pick and roll with Taj Gibson. picked up by House.
We talked about Paxson being the general manager. He's the vice president. Gar Forman is the general manager here with the Chicago Bulls.
Miami has not hit a shot in this quarter until right there. 1 of 7. Wade has got 11 points. He leads the Heat. LeBron's got 10. Bosh with 1. Bosh is 0 of 6. Boozer's 8 leading Chicago. 6 for Rose. Good pass. 10 to Gibson.
Nice touch. Dump pass down to Taj Gibson. Luol Deng easily could have took that shot right there, but you got 2 defenders on you. Nice little dump alley pass, as we call it.
Timeout taken. Foul goes on Gibson for the 2nd time.
Wade here, to the degree of difficulty, shooting the basketball over Asik, knocking down his 11th point. And then on the other end, it's Gibson.
Right now, it just matters that we're getting better, and by the time we get to the playoffs, we're tested, we're healthy, and we're ready to play.
Well, finishing our conversation on trade possibilities, Spoelstra, Pat Riley have said what we have, we feel is enough, and they feel they can get that #1 seed. As Bosh, who has not hit a shot tonight, continues that way, and now he has gone 0 of 7 for Miami.
Asik off the bench for the Bulls, setting screens and already 5 rebounds.
Flying for the pick and roll right there with Watson. Dang for 3 over Jones. I mean, Miami feels they've got enough. Do you think Miami has enough?
I think they have enough to secure that #1 seed. I love you, Dwayne Wade. You are a fabulous player, but stop lying to America by saying it doesn't matter to get that #1 seed. Because it does. Because when you're that #1 seed, you let Chicago and Boston battle it out in that 2nd round, whereas you get the road less traveled. You are in the catbird seat here.
Kyle Korver is coming. Wade dances and scoops and is fouled. That's the 2nd foul on Asik. So Wade will once again get to the free throw line, and he and LeBron get to the free throw line as much as any 2 players in the NBA, and they are on the same team, obviously, and that means a lot to Miami. Watch your favorite team at home, on the road, anywhere with NBA League Pass. Sign up now for a special half-season offer. Call your local cable, satellite, or telco provider, or log on to NBA.com/League Pass.
You talk about getting to the free throw line for the Miami Heat as LeBron James gets ready to check back in. They get to the line 28 times a game. Now, we spoke at the open between the big 3 for the Miami Heat. The percentage-wise, 65% of their offense comes from Bosh, Wade, or LeBron James. So when the ball's in their hands, you always got to be alert. That 28 free throw attempts a game, 3rd best in the NBA.
LeBron comes in for Jones. Boozer and Noah have checked back in for Gibson and Asik. Korver and Brewer. The shot clock is down to 5, and Brewer left free to fire. LeBron comes up with his 3rd rebound, and it's 10 points. 13 for Wade, top scorers. No one in double figures for Chicago. Wade, nice little wall defense there.
Well, let's talk about being on a string, rotating over.
Another steal for Brewer. Backpedaling his House is not known for his D as he comes in. So Brewer has come off the bench with 2 quick steals and forcing the issue in Miami's D.
Well, look at the wall defense as Boozer comes over and talks about the help, which sends Dwayne Wade back, and then errant pass as Ronnie Brewer comes up with the steal, and that's what he's good for out there on the floor. Defense and intensity and coming up with steals. They're going to allow him to shoot every bit of shots out there, what you just saw, because he struggles with that shot. Remember his time in Utah when they played the Los Angeles Lakers during the playoffs. Kobe Bryant basically was playing 4-off-5 because he just allowed as Korver knocked down his first shot of the game.
And Kyle Korver has been shooting great from beyond the arc, over 50% the last 9 games. And Chicago hits their first 3, 1 of 7 tonight from 3-point territory. House, by the way, moments ago, picked up his 2nd personal foul. And this is Bosh, who finally knocks one down. Chris Bosh, 1 of 8 with 3.
That's a smooth shot Chris Bosh has for that 6'10" frame of his.
Korver. I think he got whacked pretty good.
Trying to make a quick move. Could have been an offensive foul with a little hook.
Noah's got two. He's got 2 fouls right now. This will put Bosh at the free throw line for the Miami Heat. Miami Reg has played more games on the road than any team in the NBA. And we've seen their road record at 21-10. Very good record. Some people think there's more electricity on the road when Miami plays than when the Heat will play at home in their own building.
Well, because they have a late arriving crowd. Now, let's understand it is South Beach, and it's always good, a lot like New York, to show up fashionably late. So that's the problem, that if you talk to some of the Heat players, they would like for their fans to come early and, have a home court advantage like here in Chicago or in Boston or even in Los Angeles. But on the road, it's like a rock star. You saw Kanye West. The crowd went crazy when they showed him. That's what they want.
And Boozer. Miami. Boozer sailing in. He's got 10 for a Chicago player in double figures tonight. Rose is 2 of 6 with 6. Rose and Boozer, Noah, Brewer, and Korver, the Chicago 5. Anthony. Bosh gets it from LeBron. Find the shoot. Good defense. Noah. Rose. Screen by Noah. Korver. Wade.
Excellent job by the Heat running Kyle Korver off that three-point line.
Chalmers for 3. Good. Knocks it down. He is playing tonight with an offensive attitude. And Chalmers, in 13 minutes, has put up 4 shots, has 7 points.
And that's all you need to do. 3 or 4 assists, 3 or 4 rebounds, and knock down your wide open shot when you're playing with LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade.
Rose by Chalmers and over Bosh. LeBron. Look how fast he is. Wade takes it in. The assist from James, number 4. And Dwayne Wade with 15 points. That is a game high. And Miami razor sharp tonight, especially with the big names in there. 50% from the field.
Look how much attention LeBron.
Fans coverage of this game on TNT Overtime Extra on NBA.com. You can vote for which player you'd like to follow during the game. You can watch 4 isolated camera shots like right here. 2-player ISOs, as well as check out TNT Overtime Extra on NBA.com. And they got 2 right there. Boozer puts it in. Boozer's got 12. You were talking before, one of your keys tonight, easy points. Miami is not known for scoring easy points. Dampier is back in.
Great pass by LeBron James, because Bosh just couldn't get the easy duck to go down.
They go inside to the twirling Noah. This is Korver for 3. Dampier, he's had a nice game so far with his 3rd rebound. But they're getting points easy.
Bulls only shooting 38% from the field versus 49% for the Miami Heat.
And Miami in this second quarter only 31%. There's an offensive foul. Comes with 3:38 to play here in the first half from the United Center in downtown Chicago, just outside downtown Chicago. Dampier picks up his 2nd personal foul.
Well, you talked about Miami not getting any easy points. Points in the paint, they're 28th on the season. Second chance points, 26. Assists, they're 27th. And field goal attempts, they're 25th. So not a lot of ball movement, because it really is only in the hands of 3 guys for the Miami Heat.
James Jones has come in for Wade. Let's see, we got Boozer, and outside it's Dang. With a little move, and LeBron was out there watching Luol Deng. That's the first on James. Here's an easy points thing. Look at that. Those are some surprising numbers right there.
They do average 102 points a game and shoot 48%. You're wondering, how does that happen when you've got 3 all-stars on your team? Well, those 3 guys are shooting the basketball.
Rose contorting his body and taking it up. Number 8 in scoring is Rose. Dampier picks up his 3rd personal foul. Joel Anthony's going to get off the bench and check in for Miami. The Chicago defense at home, and we know they're a terrific team, but the Chicago defense in particular at home, allowing opponents only 41% shooting from the floor. Not bad at all.
Well, it coincides with their home record, 25-4 here. Great crowd, great effort. You guys really seem to be in sync here.
Anthony comes in for Dampier, and here is Rose. His demeanor is great. In fact, Greg Popovich, the San Antonio coach, talked about he's got like a perfect demeanor. And you said very, very humble kid.
I love him. I love everything he's about. He approaches the game in a way that you want your superstars to approach it. Comes early, stays late, and gets everyone involved.
Little shove there by Derrick Rose. Rose picks up number 1. You can see his averaging this year 24 and 8 puts him in some very select company.
That's amazing right
That's
there.
a great statistic. Fun to give some perspective of where he is, what kind of season he's having.
Think about all the players who have played this game and superstars, point guards and so forth, and to be on that list right there, LeBron James obviously. You know, this is guys that handle the basketball, that can score, but also are looking to dish to their teammates as well.
2-2. Chalmers at the free throw line. Had a preseason ankle injury, did Mario, and that kind of derailed a lot of his time, much like Wade's, from seeing a lot of preseason time with this brand new, this newly constructed Miami team. Noah tried to set a screen, the quick double on Rose. LeBron. Bosch 1 of 10. James is 5 of 8. Dancing with Dang.
LeBron James.
Here was that matchup they talked about. Both of them being seniors in high school, All-Americans.
That was a great story by Craig Sager.
LeBron James getting the best of Dang right there. I think LeBron keeps, every time he makes a basket, he's looking over here at you.
Now he's looking at you.
Okay.
Boozer finding a lot of defensive traffic, and Rose will put up a 3. Good offensive rebound by Noah. Look how active he is. Korver for 3. And Chicago getting it again. Boozer, and Rose fumbles it away. Chicago just does not seem as crisp as certainly in the last game before the All-Star break. Remember, they took care of the best team record-wise in the NBA, San Antonio. But tonight, it's been all LeBron James, who has put in 12, and the Miami Heat